Ben & Jerry's is famous for two things: ice cream and social justice. Since opening their first scoop shop in Burlington, Vermont in 1978, Cohen and Jerry Greenfield's brand has backed civil rights, refugees, the climate, and now Palestinian rights. It's the poster child for profit with a conscience. But the path of righteousness has been a rocky road. The brand's corporate owners do not share the same social priorities as its founders, who say that they have been locked in a battle for the company's soul.
Save Ben & Jerry's!
Save Ben & Jerry's!
Save Ben & Jerry's! Save Ben & Jerry's!
Back in 2000, Ben & Jerry's sold to Unilever for $326 million, but they insisted on a special contract.
The board wanted to remain independent, but if they couldn't stay independent, the board wanted to ensure the preservation of the social mission and safeguard the integrity of the brand. Ben & Jerry's board wanted to make sure that the social mission remained fully integrated with operations. It wouldn't be treated as a sideshow to what the company was doing.
An independent board and a preserved social mission. This worked fine for a while. Israel would be the breaking point. In 2021, the independent board declared Ben & Jerry's would stop being sold in illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem. There was uproar in Israel, whose president called the ice cream boycott a new kind of terrorism. The pressure worked. Unilever sold its Israeli branch to local businessman Avi Zinger. Ice cream was back in the settlements within a year. In 2024, the fight went legal. Ben & Jerry's sued Unilever, accusing it of censoring its social mission. They said they were blocked from calling for a Gaza ceasefire and even using the word Trump. In 2025, things escalated. Jerry Greenfield resigned. The chair of the independent board was pushed out, and Ben Cohen was arrested for protesting the Gaza war.
While the committee conducts its business, Capitol Police are asked to remove the individuals from the hearing room.
Move down the hallway.
Ben, why are you getting arrested?
Move down the hallway. If you stop, you will be arrested.
Poor kids in Gaza by buying bombs and pays for it by kicking kids off Medicaid in the U.S.
Keep going down. Keep going down the hallway.
Ben, how many days have they been starving in Gaza?
What has it been? 75 days by now. Stop.
It was also the year Unilever spun off its ice cream division into a new independent company called Magnum, as in Magnum ice creams. This has handed Ben & Jerry's a legal setback. Last week, a federal judge ruled Magnum, not Unilever, should be the primary defendant of the lawsuit, and he narrowed the case, dismissing most censorship claims while allowing financial and select governance challenges to move forward. Ben Cohen turned to the court of public opinion. Kareena Kapoor is a Bollywood superstar and a Magnum Unilever ambassador in India, but she has previously spoken out about violence against Palestinian children, so Cohen called on her publicly to cut the company endorsement. Stones have been thrown from both sides. In June, Avi Zinger's division launched an Israel-themed Ben & Jerry's ice cream flavour called Milk and Honey to celebrate local resilience. Zionism's territorial claims to Palestine hark back to biblical metaphors of a land flowing with milk and honey. But Ben Cohen is not stopping at lawsuits or celebrity campaigns. Now 75, he is fighting to buy the company back and set it free. Magnum says it's not for sale. My guest tonight is the man whose name is on the tub. Ben Cohen, welcome to MEE Live. I want to just talk about the lawsuit first. Last Friday, a judge dismissed most of Ben & Jerry's lawsuit and made Magnum, not Unilever, the main defendant. How major a defeat is this for the fight?
Well, my understanding is that the lawsuit was presented based on two separate documents. One was the acquisition agreement and the other was the settlement agreement. And the judge said that all of the arguments could go through based on the settlement agreement. So we don't really see it as a setback. I mean, the case could have been made on the basis of either document, and the judge said all these arguments continue, but based on a different document, based on the settlement agreement.
So the fight goes on.
The fight goes on, absolutely. I wish we were just sitting around eating ice cream, but as you say, the fight goes on.
Well, I guess I will be later, lucky for me. Is it okay that we bought this, actually? We had to have a little dispute about whether or not to buy this because, of course, the independence of the board continues pushing Ben & Jerry's social missions. But there is this tug of war with Unilever and Magnum. How do you feel about people still buying the ice cream?
I think people should buy a lot of Ben & Jerry's. It's really good stuff. The situation here is that Ben & Jerry's is the victim. So we don't want to hurt Ben & Jerry's by a boycott. Magnum owns a lot of brands, particularly the Magnum ice cream bar. And so we're suggesting that people boycott Magnum bars and other brands that they own.
So Magnum, you say that Magnum, which is the company now running Ben & Jerry's, is Trumpified. What exactly does that mean?
Well, I think that they've gotten rid of their director of DEI. They've told the company that they will not allow the company to use the name Trump or criticize many of his policies, which go against the values of Ben & Jerry's. Trump and his policies are the gravest attack on the values of Ben & Jerry's since the company was founded. And by muzzling the company and preventing it from speaking out against these injustices, they're kind of making the social mission hypocrisy.
Ben, you are calling on Bollywood superstar Kareena Kapoor to drop Magnum. Why put a corporate fight on a celebrity's shoulders?
Well, the problem is that she has taken a strong stand, and we certainly agree with it and appreciate it, in favor of Palestinian rights and their right to life. But at the same time, she is helping to promote a company, Magnum, that is silencing Ben & Jerry's on the same issues. So we're asking her to use her power and her influence with Magnum to get them to finally abide by the acquisition agreement, stop muzzling the board, and if they can't do that, sell the company to investors that are socially aligned.
Has she responded to you at all? Are you expecting her to respond at all?
I haven't seen any responses, and who knows?
Ben, I have to ask, you are 75, I think? You sold this company a quarter of a century ago, yet you're spending your days trying to buy it back and set it free. And not just that, you're getting arrested in the Senate. Why does this company battle matter enough to give your life to it now?
Well, it's a yearning for justice. It's a realization that Ben & Jerry's can be and has been in the past a very, very powerful force for progressive social change. And I want that to continue. I think when Ben & Jerry's joins with other advocates, it makes the campaigns stronger. And right now, Ben & Jerry's is being neutered. And, I just want to set something straight that Ben & Jerry's was a publicly held corporation. Unilever ended up offering a whole lot of money for the stock. So it was forced to sell. I resisted that sale. And I'm personally not looking to buy it back. I am wanting the values to stay alive. And so I'm advocating for a group of socially conscious investors to become the owners, people who actually support the social mission instead of fighting the company every time it tries to take a strong stand on a controversial issue.
So you opposed the Unilever purchase at the time. Was it that you feared something like this would happen, basically.
That's exactly right. That's exactly why both Jerry and I opposed it. We fought really hard because we were concerned that if it got owned by a company that didn't share the same social mission, the same social values, that they would eventually be eroded and disappear. And, the interesting thing is that for the first 20 years, when it was owned by Unilever, they kept their word and the social mission thrived. But as soon as it got spun off into the Magnum Corporation, that's when they fired the CEO, the 30-year employee, because he was listening to the independent board, and then they got rid of the entire independent board, and then they stopped funding the Ben & Jerry's Foundation. So that's the issue.
Well, it feels like a rare thing that there is a corporation of such success and scale as Ben & Jerry's that holds on to social values so tightly. Today, we're in a situation where in 2021, Ben & Jerry's board ruled to stop selling in illegal Israeli settlements. That decision was undone within a year. Today, the ice cream is not just back in the settlements. The Israeli branch has launched this Israel-themed milk and honey flavored ice cream. Does that feel like it was done in spite, or how do you feel about that direction today, given everything that you've been fighting for?
Well, I feel like we've done everything we can. I think the independent board of directors of Ben & Jerry's has been incredibly courageous. What ended up happening was that because of Unilever deciding to sell off the rights to Ben & Jerry's to this Israeli, they ended up having to sue Unilever in court. And that's what began this whole long conflict. And that's what made it clear to me that there's no way that the social mission of Ben & Jerry's is going to survive as long as it's owned by the Magnum Corporation.
And you've mentioned the board, you've praised the independent board. The boardroom is one of the maybe less visible places that this battle is unfolding. Several members have been purged in recent years. Magnum says that it removed the former chair, Anuradha Mittal, for serious misconduct and conflicts of interest, not for her Palestinian rights advocacy. Do you want to respond to that at all?
I think Anuradha is a strong, courageous woman who is highly ethical, and I think that the charges against her are a sham, and I just really appreciate all the hard work that she's put into keeping the values of Ben & Jerry's alive.
Somewhere, I think a young entrepreneur is going to be watching, someone who thinks business can be a force for good. At the same time, they see you struggling to get control of the brand that you built on those values. What would you say to them? Can a company keep its soul once someone else owns it? Or is there a different line of advice that you'd share?
Well, ideally, you don't want someone else to own it. We tried very hard to keep Ben & Jerry's independent. And because we were so resistant, that's why this unique governance structure was created, which created the independent board that has control over the social mission and the quality of the product. But ideally, I think you want to keep your company independent. Don't sell it. Make the values primary. Make the values the most important part. I mean, I think Ben & Jerry's came up with a 3-part mission that baked the social mission into the whole purpose of the company. So it's as important for the company as making great ice cream and as making a profit. And that's what I would advise to young entrepreneurs, is to bake the social mission into the company from the very beginning, in terms of the bylaws, in terms of the whole purpose of the organization.
Now, of course, the battles that Ben & Jerry's fights, it's not just about Israel-Gaza. Ben & Jerry's as a company now sort of has a target on its back from the anti-woke media brigade. One of the causes that really spoke to me early on was the fight for refugees that Ben & Jerry's took a strong stance on. I also think it used to be the case that it used to be easy to take a pro-refugee, refugees welcome stance, but that became politically much more dangerous, much more commercially dangerous as the years went on. Was it ever a dispute whether or not Ben & Jerry's would dilute that messaging to because it became so much more politically toxic? Or was it really always very, very important to those on the board, to those at the heart of Ben & Jerry's, to stand with refugees?
I think Ben & Jerry's has done a good job of standing in favor of refugees, and I've been proud of that. I don't know what's happening, in terms of changes to that as a result of the problems that we're having, but I really think that in terms of soul and spirit and common decency, we need to kind of follow the words in the Sermon on the Mount. I mean, we need to love thy neighbor. We need to help the least of these. I mean, we just need to be caring and loving toward each other, and there's no conflict with being a for-profit business and being caring and loving toward each other. I mean, I think about my country and how it's spending 70% of its expendable income on preparing to kill millions of people. For that same amount of money, we could be feeding everybody in the world who's hungry. We could be providing great education for people in our own country. We could be providing health care for people. We just need to approach the world through based on love instead of hate. And that's Cornel West has this quote. He says that justice is what love looks like in public. And I feel like that's what Ben & Jerry's is about. That's what I'm about. That's what a whole lot of other people are about. And that's one of the reasons why Ben & Jerry's has such a strong, loyal following, because people believe that. People believe in justice, they believe in love, and it's so absurd that, individual families in our country have no desire to be killing families just like them in other countries, and yet that's what our government is doing in our name and with our money.
Ben Cohen, it's been a real privilege and a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for your time.